Hey guys, what's going on and welcome back to the channel. Yeah, I'm wearing the exact same thing I was wearing before, but you guys knew this already, right? In this episode, I'm going to show you guys how to replace your door speakers. Obviously, I'm going to go ahead and replace them with JL Audio, but you guys have your own flavor or own brand that you guys like, and feel free to switch to that if you guys want. Keep in mind, the content in this video will be working with JL Audio equipment. So what we're going to have to do is remove the factory mid from the car. So to do this, the very first thing we're going to do is take off these speed rings all the way around, and then we're going to have to drill out these rivets because unlike other car manufacturers, Mercedes likes to make things complicated. So these are your factory mids for your front door. Your front door factory mids are what are referred to as components, and they're held on by three independent little rivets. Now these rivets are nothing to be afraid about because once you drill them, they just come out completely. So the very next thing that I would recommend is removing this foam insert, which is referred to as a speed ring. Even though this is not a real speed ring, it's more of like a speed wrap that is done at the factory. But as you guys can see here, it's on there pretty good. This glue that they use, I don't know what it is, but this glue is on there tight. And as you guys can see here, over time of closing and opening the door has caused the ring to deform. And when rings deform like this, they can cause the speakers to make a more muffled sound just because the foam is laying on top of the speaker. So this is actually a good thing to change out since we're in the process of upgrading the speakers. So now that you guys are done by taking this foam off, we can get straight to the heavy drilling. So before you guys start drilling, make sure your window is up because the last thing you want to do is drill through here and punch a hole through your glass because no one wants to file that insurance claim. Hey guys, I drilled into my door and I punched a hole. So now I'm going to use the 11/16 drill bit, or this is 11/64 drill bit. I'm just going to go ahead and just drill dead in the center of the rivet. The way a rivet works is there's a metal stem in the middle, and the tool pulls it up and causes compression. So to get them out, you have to relieve the compression. Now that you guys have them all drilled out, just take a flat head, and it should just come off pretty easily. And there we go, just like that. One loud pop noise and they're off. Now make sure you guys stick your hand in here and go digging for gold. Who knows, maybe they left some money from the factory. Nope, all I got was rivets. So it's important to take these rivets out because you don't want to hear rattle noises as you guys are rocking out to your new speakers. Make sure you guys look nice and good. There could be gold in there. Nope. So I went ahead and got the drill bit because this rivet was being a little bit stubborn, and I decided to step it up a bit to the next size just to push it out. Now I'm not making the factory holes bigger. All I'm doing is re-drilling out the center of this rivet. That way it comes out. If you guys are still having difficulty getting it out, consider grabbing a pick tool and pressing on it from one side. This is a pick tool, and I'm going to press right there, and just like that, it falls into the hole. And still, no money. There's no money in here. Now, this is the factory speaker. When you guys buy a $48,000 car, this is what you're paying for. It is complete trash. Look at the size of that magnet. It's a paper cone, which is, I have nothing wrong against paper cones. I just have everything wrong against this spider and this magnet. Now I'm upgrading to the JL Audio C1 6.5s. Look at the size of this magnet. Oh mama. This is going to be excellent for filling in that mid-bass that the car is desperately lacking. Now it's a very easy install to do since trim rings are available online. So all you guys have to do is buy your speakers and buy the adapter rings, the trim rings, and they fit in perfectly. There's no need to cut them or fabricate them out of ABS, even though MDF is nice. MDF is the preferred material. And the speaker just fits over it perfectly. There's only one way that these rings are going to go on. Now I like to utilize my factory wire, so I have a way to retain the factory wire and just by taking a look at this speaker, there's no way I'm going to be able to get that plug off of there. So I went ahead and ordered plug online. That way I can just plug everything in and everything will be completely factory and integrated. In case in the future somebody wants to change something out, it'll just be a plug and play. Now let's see that plug. This is your factory ring and this is the factory wire adapter that I purchased online. Now as you guys can see here, because Mercedes runs everything in front of the speaker versus behind the speaker like American cars, we need to get a little bit creative. So that's going to require drilling a very tiny hole to run these two wires through. Because I don't want to create too big of a hole, I don't want any air to be whooshing through these rings. So I went ahead, got my drill bit right here, and I just drilled a very, very tiny hole all the way up on the top. Yes, I will take some silicone and I will fill in this hole before I put it back into the car, because I don't want any air movement to be going through these speakers or the doors or anything. I want to try and make it as sound deadened as I can. Now just go ahead, pull the wire all the way through, and this is just going to leave the plug sitting all the way up on top. Now like I said, just make sure you guys close off that hole. Okay, so now that we have our plug in here, we can go ahead and explain what's going on. The black wire is for negative and the red wire is for positive. Don't ever forget that, boys and girls. Now, as you guys can see here, the JL Audio C1s fit these rings perfectly. It's like God himself came down and said, you know what, I'm going to make speaker rings and speakers that fit perfectly without any problems. So this is going to be an easy install. And of course, I like to make things complicated for future installers, and I like to use hex bits. Why do I use hex bits? It's just my signature trade. I know some people like to use Phillips screws, but I'm complicated. Now, before you guys put your speaker onto your ring, make sure you guys put on some speaker tape. Speaker tape is really, really cheap, and it's found everywhere. You just peel one side of it off, and it's kind of got like this 3M sticky glue kind of funky little stuff over here. Just go ahead and apply it all the way on the speaker ring, and you work your way all the way around the circle, and internet magic, done, circle's complete. So now what I'm going to do is go ahead and just mark where my holes are going to be, which, in case you guys don't know, these speakers line up perfectly. So I'm just putting a little bit of an indentation. It's just going to make it easier for me to lay the speaker, making sure that the orientation of the terminals are facing up, because that's where my plug is. You don't want to go ahead and screw your speaker on and then find out that, oh crap, the orientation is now down, and now you guys have to run all this wire all the way around. Now, like I said, make sure orientation up. Where that plug is that you guys installed, that you guys put your terminals on that side. And this is also really, really important. For the love of God, don't use power tools to screw your screws onto your trim rings. All it takes is one slip and you guys are toast. Now these are the terminals that I'm talking about. There's 4 terminals on here. And the good thing about JL Audio is they give you the clamps to connect right over to them. The big clamp is going to be the positive. The small clamp is going to be the negative. Don't forget that, boys and girls. Now, as you guys can see here, it just slides on really, really easy. And then you go get yourself a crimp tool. I have a crimp tool right here. Let me see. Yeah, I got one right here. This is my blue crimp tool. I'm going to go ahead and press it. Now, keep in mind, crimp tools have red, blue, and yellow. If you guys use a red on a blue, it will destroy it. If you guys use a yellow on a blue, nothing will happen. So make sure you guys use the correct crimp tool for what you guys are crimping, so that way it doesn't damage the wire or doesn't damage the plug. So now go ahead, repeat the process over on the negative side. By now you guys have mastered the art of crimping, so your crimp should look just like mine, or better if you guys have done this before. And like I said, it just takes one simple little press and it's done. Yes, you guys can solder on these wires to the speakers, but really, do you guys want to go back later on down the road, God forbid something happens, and unsolder all of this and redo all this? I'd rather just unscrew it, unplug it, and be done and move about my happy little day. Now they just plug in JL audios are marked with positive and negative, but more importantly, the big one is positive and the little one is negative. Now just tuck in all your wires and make sure everything is good. Now let's get back to the door. This is the easy part. Ready? Move the wire out of the way and ta-da! Instant door speaker upgrade. And of course, everything is all integrated, so everything's just going to plug right in. Now just make sure that you guys wrap all of your wire with tested tape or friction tape because you don't want any rattling noise to occur in this process. Now of course, let's talk about the tweeter. This is the JL Audio C1 tweeter. It's a very, very nice tweeter. And this is the factory tweeter. It's actually not that bad, surprisingly. But my MO with this tweeter is it's not gonna work with this system. I want a full JL audio system. I do like the fact that this capacitor is glued on there like that. Now check this out, ready? And it just goes right into the exact same hole that the factory speaker came out of. There's no need to bore out the hole bigger. There's no need to damage factory equipment. This is an easy changeover thanks to the JL Audio C1 sound system. And there's plenty of other speaker sizes out there in case you guys decide you maybe have a different car and maybe you guys want to try this on that car. It's going to be an easy changeover with the C1 sound system. But I'm going to make sure I close that hole on the tweeter. So let's talk about this little piece right here. This is called a crossover. The little arrow on the crossover is going to be pointing towards the direction of your tweeter. In my case, there's my tweeter in the sail, and then this is going to be the power supply. The power supply can plug into your mid, but I don't want to do that. So I'm going to decide to cut the factory power going to the tweeter, and I'm going to go ahead and solder in the connections. But in case you guys don't want to do that and you guys want to keep the factory connections there for some unknown reason, I want you guys to check this out. This is the factory speaker. Now remember when I said that there's, sorry about that. You guys remember when I said that there's 4 prongs on here? There they are. There's 2 on the top and 2 on the side. So 2 positives and 2 negatives. So you guys can, ideally, just plug this in right there and then go from there to your tweeter. But like I said, I'm cutting my factory tweeter wire and I'm going to go ahead and just solder them on. Now keep in mind, Mercedes-Benz, the door colors are not the same as the wires going to the doors. If you want a wiring diagram for your speaker wires, it's in the description section below. Mercedes will make all the interior door wire colors green and green with a brown stripe. Green with a brown stripe is negative and green is positive. Do not go to the back of your radio looking for green and brown striped wires. You're not going to find them, and if you do, they're not going to be your door speakers. Mercedes and other car manufacturers notoriously change the color of door speakers when they get to the door. Don't ask me why. Maybe because they're assembled on 2 different assembly lines. Now, I'm just doing a simple soldering over here. This is a good skill for you guys to pick up. It's a great skill for life and probably a life necessity. Now that you guys have everything all nice and soldered, make sure you guys slide on your heat shrink over it. Now, this is me heating up the heat shrink. This is going to freak some of you out. I understand that some of you guys prefer to take a hair dryer because it's going to reduce the coefficient of the oxidation because the heat is causing whatever. Just make sure you guys heat shrink these things on there. Now that everything is all good to go, the only thing that needs to be done is test the tape and install this to the door. Now you're probably going to ask me, how am I going to install this to the door? Well, the answer is rivets. If Mercedes can rivet it on, I can rivet it on. So it's only going to take me 3 rivets and 1 cheap rivet gun from Harbor Freight. It's going to go pretty easy. So now that it's riveted on, everything is good to go. I can go ahead and put my speed ring over it, but more importantly, make sure you guys test your speakers and make sure that everything is functioning. If you guys don't have a way to bench test your speakers, this would be the time for you guys to test your stuff. Test it now before you guys get the entire door put back together and then realize that, oh crap, it doesn't work. So this is the great time for you just to get everything, make sure everything's good, and just keep things working functionally. And now that you guys have verified that everything works, let's go ahead and slap on the speed ring. This is a 6.5-inch speed ring, so it will go over the entire speaker perfectly, and it will stick on there for plenty of generations to enjoy listening to music, or till gasoline no longer exists and this car is completely devalued. But in the meantime, I'm going to enjoy some quality sound coming from these speakers, and now with these new speed rings and the door deadening that I plan on doing, it's going to fill in the bass perfectly.
And there you go, guys. It is that easy to change out your door speakers on your Mercedes-Benz. Nothing to be intimidated by. As long as you guys have a little bit of patience and you guys are willing to take the time to do the job right, you guys can get it done. Now, a lot of people are going to message me down in the comments, what if you guys have an HK sound system? Well, it's going to be about the exact same. The difference is the HK has an amplifier going to each speaker. But the main point is, this is it. This is how easy it is to change out your factory door speakers. Now, just keep in mind, I did use the JL Audio C1s. Those are the entry-level JL Audio speakers. But in my opinion, you get the best bang for your buck with those speakers versus any other one on the market. And I know a lot of shops, if you guys go to the shops and you guys request JL Audio, they will turn you down. And the reason for that is because they're not an authorized dealer. So if you guys want to order JL Audio sound equipment, I'm going to go ahead and leave the link in the description below. If you guys take it to any audio sound system shop, if you guys don't feel comfortable doing it yourself, they will gladly do it for you. It's just like wiring any other speaker. It's just JL Audio. And the reason why I choose JL Audio is because not only do they sound good, they're affordable, they're located in my backyard right out of Miami. So I'm supporting my hometown. And with that being said, guys, I will see you guys in the next video where I'm gonna be sound deadening this door. Wish me luck.